Turn this on. I'm going to cut to that. Okay. So we're all set up there. Now, what do you see, Henry? Do you see like just a green screen? Or do you see anything? What do you see? Okay. Can you hear me, Henry? Oh, there you go. I see someone. Hold on. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Oh, he's off. Hold on. Your mic is off. Hold on. Okay. I should be able to hear you now, and I should see Henry too. Okay, where's Henry? Okay. Oh, your mic's up. No, Henry's mic is up. Okay, hold on. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so, all right. Let me just turn. I'm going to turn Podbean on. All right, I
Bitcoin on there.
All right, I'm going to lower your mics a little loud. I'm going to lower it.
I'm loud.
A little bit. I just lowered
All right. Okay.
it. Okay. Hold on. I got to turn Podbean on first. All right, you guys, we're on YouTube here, so you guys, hold on YouTube. We're going to start this in a moment. YouTube started without us here. Hold on. All right, you guys, we're on YouTube here, so you guys, hold on YouTube. We're going to start this in a moment. YouTube started without us here. Hold on. All right, you guys, we're on YouTube here, so you guys, hold on YouTube. We're going to start this in a moment. YouTube started without us here.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
Oh, you're there now. You got a green screen up.
Yeah, that they can hear us. Our volume is on. All right, we're going to start the show here momentarily, everyone. Just a moment.
Talking Markets with Mark and Andy, your weekly roundup for news, perspective, and investment ideas across the cryptocurrency, stocks, options, and Forex markets. So let's talk markets with Mark and Andy.
And you are listening to the Talking Market Show with Mark and Andrew, and of course the wonderful Henry Rains from the Henry Rains Show. Good afternoon, everyone.
How's it going?
Going good. What are you laughing at, Henry?
The late Henry
Mark?
What's that?
The late Henry Rain show. Hey, that was a good show, man. We did that for a couple years. I remember we used to get all the hot chicks in there and everything. Come on now. I mean, we had some good times in there. So, and the Bitcoin craze is coming back. A lot of people interested in Bitcoin. And market's getting a little hammered here while the stock market's moving a little bit higher. Bitcoin seems to be getting hammered today, but is this a concern? Should everyone be panic selling right now?
This is nothing. This is not even a hammering.
What?
This is just a joke.
I mean, it moved 300 points. Are you kidding me? This isn't I mean, come on, I'm panicking here. What's going on? 300 point move.
Yeah, you're talking about this little tiny consolidation that we're in right now. This is nothing.
Yeah.
This is nothing. This is just noise, okay? It's actually a bullish sign, if anything. I sent out a swing
What do you
trade
mean by
idea.
bullish sign?
Well, it's a bullish sign because the thing is, we touched the 20K resistance. We had plenty of opportunities to sell off dramatically, and it refuses to break 18K. So we can look at that actually as a sign of strength.
Lingering at resistance a lot. You like that lingering at resistance. And this is a major resistance area. It's lingering there. It's actually in a pretty decent, tight consolidation going on. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. I like it long, too. I think this pullback's going to kind of suck in some shorts maybe, blow out some late longs that are, oh, my God, I shouldn't have bought it 19,000. And then it's going to move higher. Now, I think it could pull back to 17, looking at my chart there, 17,650, and still be in that same bullish pattern. What do you think, Mark?
17,650. All right, well, let's take a look at that. 17,650. Yeah, it's definitely, it needs to clear the 16s to really say, okay, we're in a consolidation or a short-term consolidation. Right now, we're in this tight range, which is basically just, just like I said, noise. So yeah, it has room to test slightly lower, but we're looking for that breakout. And actually, that's why I sent out the swing trade the other day to our members, because if this thing holds this consolidation, that's a trend or momentum continuation pattern. And if we can clear those low 20Ks, this thing can build enough momentum to get to our 24K target, which is what we've been looking for, in recent time.
Yeah, a lot of people get caught up on triangle patterns and harmonics and all the patterns that form randomly in the markets. But really, the patterns form because of order flow. And what we're seeing here up towards this upper end of the resistance is that any type of selling that's coming in at 20,000 is being absorbed pretty quickly. I mean, even that initial pullback we had, I mean, they bought it right back up, right out of the 17,000 area. They bought it right back up. And I mean, so any sell side orders being absorbed here. Now, there are a couple key technical levels, in my opinion, and I'm looking at the 18,650. I don't want to see that one taken out. What I mean by taken out is not that it taps it and or it goes to 18,300 and then pulls back up, but I don't want to see a close below that and a continuation sell. If we get something like that, then I think that exposes 17,650 and potentially down into the 16,000s. But the longer it lingers here, the longer I like it. So I was a little cautious there for a while, but yeah, I like your swing trade you put out. And Mark, where'd you put that out at?
Well, the price, to activate that trade, Bitcoin needs to push the 19,625 area. Okay, so we use a stop order, and we like to let the market work for the trade rather than just reactively putting an order in there because we feel good. Right, that's usually what gets you into trouble. So in this case, I put that out yesterday. Our members have plenty. Not yesterday. I put that out on Sunday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. And our members basically have 2 days in advance now because obviously the market hasn't touched that level. So they have all the orders, they have all the targets, they know where the stop is, and they can just put the orders in at their leisure, while the market does nothing here. And everyone else who bought it too early, now they have to take this pain and they have to hope for the best. And they're at the mercy of the market. While we have no risk at this point, right?
Yeah, I think it's important when you're trying to buy these breakout. Go ahead.
Henry.
Go ahead, Henry.
MicroStrategy, the company that was sort of started a lot of the bullish media coverage with its purchase of Bitcoin, announced they're buying another $400 million of Bitcoin.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Holy
Citibank
Moses.
actually downgraded today on that announcement, but since they started acquiring, I think around 11,000, their shareholders are pretty happy with the strategy.
Yeah, I see no heavy selling coming on here. I just don't see any sell side order flow. Mark, you said something about a buy stop. Why is it so important to have a buy stop when you're trading a breakout or a continuation pattern versus just, hey, it looks like it's going to break out. I'm going to buy it now.
Well, because again, what it helps to do is it helps to minimize the noise or the fake, the fake moves. You get these fake outs that often occur near these levels. That's why we've been so hesitant to even take longs in this area, because of the vulnerability of the location. So using a buy stop helps to minimize the noise and getting caught in a fake out, as opposed to someone that sees a green candle and buys it, or some fake guru says, oh, it's time to buy it, so they all buy it, reacting to information. And the buy stop helps us to, for one, minimize our own opinions and take us out of the equation as much as possible. That's why I like to use those, especially in these type of situations.
Yeah, and this is this kind of consolidation. Oh, go ahead, Henry.
Well, before we leave the thought about MicroStrategy, just one other interesting thing about that speaks to the general bullishness of the marketplace in general for Bitcoin. They're financing that $400 million of Bitcoin purchases with convertible notes. So they actually believe they have the market to sell convertible notes to buy $400 million of Bitcoin.
Wow.
Which would take them to 20,000 plus Bitcoin they have.
Now, what's the market cap of Bitcoin right now? Something like...
Now you have...
I got to ask it, because they're buying 400 million. No, it can't be... How much?
That's what it
It's
says.
like 300 billion?
To raise 400 million to buy even more Bitcoin.
Yeah, but what's the market cap of
billion?
Bitcoin? I think it's 200 billion. So, I mean, that's a pretty big chunk if they're buying 400 million.
Okay, but...
I have to Google it.
Right. When did that news come out, Henry? Was that today's news?
Yes.
That about that purchase? Right.
Maybe last night.
Okay. It's interesting because, Bitcoin is actually...
I'm sorry, 350 billion is, as of December 6th, is the Bitcoin.
350, so still it's about 1/6 of all the Bitcoin that's out there. I mean, that's 1/6 of the market cap, yeah.
Yeah, it just shows how relevant news is, when it comes to what's really going on in the world. So anyway, that's an interesting thing. Now, one thing real quick that I want to mention, about this, because we sent it to our members, like I said, on Sunday in the afternoon. They've had plenty of time to prepare for a breakout, and they also didn't get stuck in any noise, because now if anyone's in this, again, you're at the mercy of the market. If it takes out 18K here, and I'm going to put that chart up so you can see, if this thing takes out 18K, hold on, wrong picture there. Where's my chart? There we go. Hold on.
That was a good picture of Henry and I. What do you mean it was wrong picture?
Yeah, well, it was not the picture I wanted to show. So I could say something worse, but I'm not. So if we take out that 18K, or if you're in this and you're at the mercy of the market and 18K is taken out, you now have to sit in that and hope, unless you take the loss, you have to hope that it doesn't break 16K, okay, which would be another buying opportunity for us if Bitcoin offers such a scenario, okay? We don't know if it will. It's about adjusting based on what the market gives us, right? We're always adjusting. That's all we can do. We can't sit there and predict anything. Now, one thing that we can control is our risk, right? And that's what we're all about. That's what we always tell our members to focus on, because if you can't manage risk, you can't make money no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have a couple of random wins. A couple of random wins are the worst thing that you can actually do, because then it reinforces a lot of negative behaviors, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think the worst thing you can do is make money your first year trading in the market, because you get that cognitive bias that you are in control of the market. But yeah, I agree 100% with that. Right. One thing that this has exposed is some weakness in the alts. So I want to take a couple look at some altcoins. I'm going to start with the best looking altcoin, and I know I've been hammering it lately, is Ripple XRP. Let's pull up that XRP chart. It's actually looking pretty decent here, or it was this morning. Ripple's looking pretty decent here. XRP USD. A lot of people have been asking me about Ripple. My personal opinion on it, doesn't matter. This chart's looking pretty decent. I mean, I like this structure here. Again, it's showing the same type of buying, any sell size being absorbed by the market here. So you got this potential move for a swing higher. It's not as tight as Bitcoin's, but it's same type of setup here.
Right.
So I do think that this one's setting up. This one is one of the stronger ones. So if I'm looking at some altcoins to buy, I'm looking at the ones that right now have the stronger charts. Let's take a look at Ethereum.
But wait, hold on. Before
ETH.
You switch over,
go ahead.
Where do you think Ripple can go? I mean, what's a reasonable target for this?
I think $85 is reasonable here on this next move. I mean, can it get back to the all-time glory of $3? I don't know. If I did, I wouldn't be, I'd be all in, I guess.
You wouldn't be on this show,
But,
that's for sure. You'd be with Kramer.
that's for sure. Yeah, I'd be up there with Kramer, telling everybody to sell right now. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of XRP for the long term as a long-term investment, but as a trading vehicle to make some money, I like it here. Interesting
You
news
also
came out
have
on Ethereum. Oh,
You have the
go ahead,
mania
Henry.
earlier this week on Ripple about the airdrop that they were floating the idea that they were going to make, which helped spur some of that interest in it and get the buying, because they were going to circulate 45 billion XRP with an airdrop.
Yeah, I love airdrops. I mean, that's the best way to FOMO up a coin, right?
Yeah, come on, talk about
Oh, yeah,
inflation.
we're going to give you these free coins. Yeah.
Yeah, inflation. That's called
So, I
inflation.
mean, XRP doesn't look bad here.
This is okay.
There was
so
some
this
good
is,
news.
Yeah, this is
I'm sorry, go
Ethereum.
ahead.
This is Ethereum. You wanted to say something about Ethereum?
Yeah, there's some news came out on Ethereum. Henry, you were the one that sent that to me. What's going on with Ethereum here? It's actually good news for the space
Coinbase
and good
is
news
going
for the
to allow-
coin.
With the Ethereum upgrade, they're moving to proof of stake. And originally, there is a certain amount that individuals have to stake to become a stakeholder and to participate in it. But Coinbase is going to be allowing people to stake Ethereum with no minimum, or at least not a minimum anywhere near what the Ethereum requirements are. Now, you have to leave the Ethereum with Coinbase in the treasury for as long as the other stakeholders do. But, rather than putting 10,000 or 20,000, you could put 2,000 to work for you, and you get a return on your investment, theoretically, the way it's going to give you a return, and then you get whatever appreciation that the Ether has when you can finally are allowed to take it out of the treasury.
And there was some other news too with a credit card company that I thought was really fascinating. I really like that news. What was that, Henry?
Now, I'm not sure which one you're talking about with that one. Was that with
Visa.
Visa?
Visa. Yes.
Yeah, well,
I thought that
they're
was interesting
partnering
news.
with Circle.
Paxos
That's the
or
company.
Circle, yeah.
U.S. dollar coin, or USDC, I think, is the symbol. And that's because Visa withdrew from the leading foundation, and so they pulled the rug out on their. And now Visa is partnering with Circle as a sign to do everything Libra will.
Henry's cutting
And
off here a bit.
in response,
Yeah,
Libra
Henry, we're losing you.
changed its name to DM Foundation.
Yeah, Henry's getting into that frozen
Right,
mode.
I'll log
Yeah.
out.
Okay, yeah, I gotta for
Okay,
Christmas. I'm getting him a nice camera and a headset like mine, so we can match. That way we can match,
Yeah.
and we always hear
Actually,
Henry.
that's his internet connection. I think it's not him. It's not his equipment. It's his connection.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So, anyways, so Visa is partnering with Paxos
There he is.
to. There it is. There he is. Woo! It's like waking up out of a cold freeze there, Henry. You went.
Yeah.
So Visa's partnering with.
Yeah. Okay, I just
It was
want
all that Ripple airdrop you were getting.
Yeah, can I just add a really bad joke? And Henry may not
Yeah, go
appreciate
ahead.
this joke, but I just have to say it. This isn't Henry Raines, by the way, everyone. This is Attorney General Bill Barr. He's on our show now, and he resigned from the Department of Justice. And he's with us
you know
today.
what?
Hey, Bill, how you doing? I'm just kidding. It's a really bad joke.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Henry. I'm sorry.
Just don't ask me what happened to Henry Raines.
I was going to ask you what happened to Epstein. I really wanted to know what happened to Epstein, but anyways, so
I'll just leave you hanging.
so I
on
thought
one.
yeah, so Ethereum looks decent here too. So I'm looking at the chart of Ethereum. I like the news that's coming out. I mean, there's room for more than one. Which one it's going to be, we don't know, but it's similar to Bitcoin. Maybe not as strong as Ripple by any means, but it's still a pretty decent chart here, Mark. Wouldn't you say?
Well, look here again with these things.
Just
with
a
these
little broader
altcoins.
range.
Look, I get a lot of questions about these in my stream that I do a couple of days a week for our members. It's on YouTube. You can see them. You can go back and watch them. And the thing is, I get a lot of questions about XRP, Bitcoin, Litecoin, all those things. And here's what you have to understand. They're showing similar patterns. Altcoins that are showing a similar pattern to Bitcoin, like Ethereum, this is not a bad situation, right? It's a consolidation near the high. It's what it should be doing relative to where Bitcoin is. Same with something like Litecoin, okay? So if you get a buy signal in one of these things, Bitcoin still needs to lead the way. If Bitcoin fails, then I don't care how many buy signals show up in Ethereum, these things don't move on their own yet. So that's something you have to keep in mind. It's not like a low correlated stock to the S&P that does its own thing. Now, occasionally you get like an altcoin that moves on some very specific news, but trying to play that game is like playing the lottery. You can't really base ideas on technical patterns in those situations. So my point is this. If Bitcoin doesn't give the signal or it doesn't take the lead, these altcoins, I don't care what kind of signal's in them, they're not going anywhere. So you have to decide, what you're more interested in and, what your strategy is for something like that. But you must look at Bitcoin for the lead. Right now, at least, that's the way it's been working for a while. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Bitcoin's been the leader and it's still leading the market, except for one coin, Monero. Monero. Okay. There is something going on with Monero. I think people like that privacy aspect. It's without a doubt the strongest chart. Discounting the all-time high. I mean, this is a pretty decent chart. It's trying to break higher.
This is an example of a chart that's trying to outperform Bitcoin. Okay, and that's good. That's a good thing. That's what you want to see from what you're involved in. You want to see something like that. It's trying to do its own thing. It's trying to break out. But even then, if I was long Monero right now, I would be very concerned if I got long at these prices because you're at a range high and it's possibly setting up to fail. So, while it is relatively, it's acting well relative to Bitcoin, these prices are risky prices, right? Just like Bitcoin, even though we sent out that swing trade idea, it's not like we're like, oh yeah, there's no risk. This is fine. It's not like we're doing that. We know that there's a lot of risk in this area, but we're willing to give it a chance because the trend is generally strong and we're looking for some follow through from that. But we are very aware that that thing can fail at any moment, and if it can't clear those 20Ks, we're expecting a more dramatic sell-off. Why? Because too many people are long, right? And then they all bang it out at the same time. That's the typical behavior. We see it over and over. And that's what leads to a failed high or a failed low. And XMR or Monero is in such a position right now. So I would be careful with that. I wouldn't be all like, yeah Monero's awesome.
Well, the purpose of me going through a couple of these charts is to show the relative strength of the coin versus Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Like you said, if it all in a correlated world, everything should be acting like Bitcoin. So I'm looking to see how the market's reacting to a specific coin, like an Ethereum, which obviously it's correlating right along with Bitcoin, or a Ripple, which actually looks a little bit stronger, in my opinion, than Bitcoin, or Monero, which looks very strong. So I'm kind of looking at these for ones that maybe I want to take a position trade if we get a pullback. Let's pull up Bitcoin Cash.
Okay. BCH.
Yep.
USD. Okay, here, let's pull up the chart so people can see it. Yeah.
Looks like crap.
Looks horrible.
Get rid of it. Why would you look at, and if you even zoom out, I mean, it hasn't done anything. So this whole market, I mean, everyone's going Ripple nuts. Everyone's, jumping on all these altcoins. And I mean.
Well, look. This is an example of relative weakness. Okay, when your coin, if Bitcoin's near its highs and your coin is struggling like this, which is clearly struggling
at the
it's
low,
not testing any highs, right? That's the question you have to ask is, what happens if Bitcoin pulls back?
Why?
Right. Well, forget why. Who cares why? I don't care why. If the question is, what happens if Bitcoin pulls back? If Bitcoin pulls back, this is likely to sell faster because it's relatively weak, right? It's just a simple relationship. So. That's what you have to watch out for in something like this. And if you're long this thing because you hope, I hope it catches up, you're at the mercy of the market. You're a weak hand, and you're likely to bang it out at bad prices.
Yeah. So, anyways, just a couple that we're looking at. We went over a bunch of altcoins this weekend. Henry, what's your thoughts on Ethereum now? Are you starting to cozy up to that?
No, I'm not, but that's just me. I mean, I think if you have plenty of Ether, then I think the staking is a good opportunity for you. because you're still, if you're not going to touch it for whatever the number of years is that you have to stake it for, then why not get the extra return? Because not only will you get whatever they're claiming now, 5% or something like that as your return, which is better than any fixed income thing that you can find in the rest of the marketplace, you're still going to get the appreciation of Ether if all the hope and wonder that they feel is coming with the new decentralized finance, the Ether ecosystem, you'll just be happy as can be.
Be rolling in the dough, rolling in the dough.
Right.
That's interesting. All
Lambo,
right, well, look,
Bitcoin, Lambo City.
right.
So, but anyways, it's
I
enough.
don't have the patience around for the fixed income investments.
Yeah,
Even
if you're
they
new to
appreciate.
cryptos the fixed incomes, that's not bad with Ethereum. I mean, if you're new to cryptos, if I get another call on Ripple, I'm going to throw up. I mean, hey, should I buy some Ripple? Should I buy some Ripple? Someone told me Ripple's a good investment. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not an investment.
Well,
it's a utility coin.
hold on. You mentioned,
and you have to understand. Go ahead.
You're on the topic. I just want to throw a question in there real quick because you're talking about it. When you talk about investments, right, in these altcoins, we had a great question from HS the other day about, she wanted to know what altcoins were on our radar as far as a long-term investment that had potential and all this and all. And I told her none. I mean, at least for me, zero. How would you answer that question?
I think it has to have a fiat type. It has to be a fiat type currency. So a Litecoin, a Bitcoin Cash, a Monero, a Dash, Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum's
well, I told her
kind
stick
of a
to the
smart
leaders,
contract.
if anything. I mentioned
So,
it, but,
yeah,
but
I mean,
she
so-
wanted to know if there were any unusual cheap, altcoins that.
There's a reason why they're cheap. I mean, we've been through this. I mean, 2017, we used to remember Henry used to have coin of the week, and it was always some,
So to answer, we have to move on. But to answer your question,
Yeah.
So you have no coins.
I think Monero. I like Monero.
that's not a cheap
maybe
coin.
an Ethereum.
That's not a cheap coin. Either.
Ethereum, Litecoin. I think if you're going to buy, and you buy a small position of them, you don't go nuts. Monero is interesting here because it's a true privacy coin, unlike Dash, which is semi-private.
So the coins need to have
It
some
has
kind
a
of merit,
use.
and they have to solve some kind of real problem, right? What's that joke Henry always tells us? They solve problems that don't really need solving. What is that joke about most of these coins?
That's one that Andrew stole from me that I stole from somebody else. So he probably has pressure in his brain than it is in mine.
It was altcoins are great at solving problems nobody needs the answers for. So donate solutions.
As far as the altcoins that are hot, the decentralized finance coins, the DeFi, make these incredible gains. A lot of them, they've just copied and pasted the code into and given it a new name. That's not a long-term investment. So there has been some separation in those, and that some are, I guess you would consider, are like the blue chip of the decentralized finance, like Yearn or something like that. But even then, you're depending if you're looking for a long-term investment as opposed to a trade, and if you're looking for a trade, you should just listen to whatever you guys are saying about the charts. But if you're looking for one that you're going to hold for a while, you've got to believe for decentralized finance that the global economic system is going to just roll over and let it take over and not come down on it with a hammer. That the Chinese Communist Party are not going to allow their digital yuan to prosper. They're going to let your decentralized finance prosper, or the global banking system on the Western world. So I don't know. I'm a bunch of skeptic on these things.
Okay, no,
more than I've ever been.
And that makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of that's a valid argument there. So that's a good answer to also HS's question. Now, real quick, before we got to talk about stocks, because we're already halfway through the show, and there's a lot to talk about in the stock area. But before we do, I want to mention one thing, guys. Today, if you look, I'm going to show you this on our. If you notice something, do you notice something different about our pricing page today, guys? Do you notice anything different about it?
Your numbers.
The numbers have changed. We've been talking about this for a long time. I've been talking about it. We're going to change. We're going to change. Well, our developers pushed the changes over, and now these are our new prices. Okay, so for 6 months, we have $299 for 6 months, right? And then for yearly is $399. This basically comes to what, $50 a month, and the yearly comes to like 31 and a quarter a month. These are our prices now. Okay, so if you're a member previous to this change, you have our old prices, but now we have these prices here, and these are still relatively low compared to some of the other stuff that's going on out there. So we have a 7-day free trial. I wanted to show this to you, and you should still take advantage of the 7-day free trial. See if you like what we do. Check out our track record, and go from there. Okay, so wanted to mention that because again, told you it was coming, so here it is. All right.
Why would anybody only go for 6 months when you can get 6 more months for just a third of the price of 6 months?
Oh,
You should just buy the year.
that's true.
We're counting on Tron. We're counting on Tron bag holders to sign up too, Henry.
Okay, so let's.
And why would you buy Tron when you got Bitcoin? I mean,
$99.
Right. So you get that nice.
All right. So the S&P is looking strong here. We closed out some positions. We've added a couple of positions. We've been pretty actively trading over the past couple of weeks, but we're in and out at these areas. And a couple things that if you're looking at the S&P, I want to see a clear 3707. I'm still a little cautious here. I want to see a clear 3707, a close above it, and a continuation. And I think 38's reachable from here.
Well,
and we've been saying that, pretty much been saying that for a couple of weeks.
Right.
That if we can take out this high here, and we get a continuation, I think we're going to squeeze up to 3,800.
Well, look, and that's a good point that you bring up. Someone in our chat room the other day mentioned something about kind of sneaking through the resistance, which is what they're doing right now. Because one thing we can't ignore, like if you with a move like today, right? The S&P closed up 20 points at 3703. This is the CFD, by the way. This isn't the actual index. And I'm sure if you turn on the mainstream news, they're going to say things like, oh, new highs. Oh, this is great, blah, blah, blah. So it encourages a lot of optimism and people feel comfortable buying stocks and this and that, whatever, especially when, they're pushed on you. The thing is, this location, just like Bitcoin, is highly vulnerable to a sell-off. Now, if you want to see a recent example of a situation like that, we can look no further back than August, okay? Look how August, we had that rally in August, and it was pretty much relentless, like day after day, pushing higher and higher and higher. And eventually, the sell-off came, as you saw. So in these vulnerable areas, I'm very cautious about buying stocks because I don't want to get caught in this situation. I'm interested in stocks when we get to support levels, okay? I want to buy strong markets that have temporary weakness. This isn't temporary weakness. This is a vulnerable area that can lead to weakness because too many people get long, okay? And then out of nowhere, some news comes out that no one saw coming, and next thing you know, I wonder what the news events were for these peaks, like this October peak. I don't remember, but it comes out of nowhere, and next thing you know, no one knows why this is going on, right? Well, I can't believe it's selling off.
I think that big one was Trump got COVID.
The October one?
I believe one of them was.
I don't remember.
It may have
I
been
don't
the first
remember.
one. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
The point is, it comes out of nowhere, right? But so how does the chart help us? The chart helps us because we recognize we're in a vulnerable area and we should be careful with stocks. Now, it doesn't mean we avoid stocks because we haven't been. We've been looking for stocks, we've been buying, we've been getting things in and out, but we are nimble, okay? And we are prepared because we know this is not a place to put on long-term investments. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm keeping it
Mark,
short and actually we're trimming up.
That ties into that because you hear some people thinking with the vaccines that we're about ready to get into another bull market, and not just a bull market, but where the secular market is going to take off too. So when you pull back with all the weird happenings that happened this year, and you look at 5 years, are we lower than what you would extrapolate 5 years to be, or have we slowed down and now we may catch up next year, or would we have to even accelerate more to be higher next year? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not sure how you're tying the 5 year. Are you talking about 5 years ago
So if you're
or
looking 5 years out,
At the
is it going to be
S&P,
higher
like
than
like
it
a
is
five-year
today?
oh,
chart of the S&P.
projecting forward
Like,
5 years?
well, I mean, look where we were 5 years ago and where we are now.
Okay.
And is it possible? Did we flatten out in 2019, 2020 on that 5 year slope, or did the slope turn higher?
Well, all right. So let's pull up here. I'm going to pull up a chart here, right? I squeezed it back 5 years, right? Here's 2015 back here, okay? Right back here. I'm going to draw a box there so you can see that. This is 2015 back there. So, we took out that 2015 high a long time ago. Interestingly enough, the March low wasn't far from that 2015 high, okay? The March low, which you can see over here, that steep sell-off. Relatively speaking, I mean, we're much higher than that point. So, if anything, we're at a major high, and at major highs, it's not. We know for sure it's not a low. So, it's no. I don't care like what they say how great fundamentals are. I don't care what they say what vaccines are coming out. None of that really means anything to me. Even for the long term, I'm only looking at highs and lows, right? And as you can see, if you go back, if you look at those dramatic lows, like the 2019 low, okay, and the 2020 March low, right, those are places really where the long-term opportunities are the greatest, which we had stepped into a few things there, including Bitcoin. But that's really where you should be out looking for those type of investments, not when everyone's throwing a party at the high. This is the most vulnerable spot, okay? And people that buy at these highs are the people that are banging it out the lows, and that's what creates all the buying opportunity. All those people banging out their shares or getting margined out of their positions. Okay, so that's how you have to
Yeah.
look at it in terms of probability. It's a contrarian point of view, and it may be hard to understand for some people, but you have to let go of the mainstream conventional wisdom because it's not there to help you. If that makes sense. You
Yeah,
gonna
I
say
think,
something?
yeah. I mean, go ahead, Henry, because I'm going to comment on that too.
Well, I was just looking at on the chart there. Like if you look at January 2018, September 2018, September, I think of 2019. Anyway, the slope would extend much lower than where we are right now. You could take the high points from about a 3 year run there and extend that out, and it would be much lower than where we are. So the answer to the question I was asking is yes, the slope has turned up much higher in 2020, or the numerical value of the slope is higher in 2020 than it has been in preceding 3 or 4 years, which actually seems like you would think it would be the opposite with the kind of news we've had this year, but the opposite has happened. All the bad news has turned the slope higher.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for it, and one of them, obviously, they talk about it all the time, is that the more money you print, the better it is for the market, because where you're gonna, if you're sitting in fiat, if you're sitting in cash, it's being diluted just like shares of a stock.
Right,
So,
inflation.
yeah, so you're getting that inflation. So where's the best place to put your money? And it's in the stock market, real estate, gold, Bitcoin. Those types of assets are going to do well the more they print, because all things being the same, there's only so many. So many shares of Apple, and Apple. Whether inflation goes or not, Apple's going to grow with that inflation. So your money's going to grow with it. So there is that aspect to it. Now, go back to that chart, Mark. To me, we're starting to get to a very, very broad. This has been a long, 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 long bull market. I think it can go higher. I don't see any reason why it can't. There, and we're grinding through that. We're grinding through this resistance area pretty solidly. I mean, kind of watching the order flow today, just in the QQQ, and it looks weak. And boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, here comes all the buying, and here comes all the buying. And they just keep buying it up. So as long as they're buying it up, I think you got to stay long. There's absolutely no sign. Now, if you get some, like Trump caught COVID, I mean, obviously that took the sale right out of the market. You get something like that, something happens to Biden, God forbid, or something happens over in the Middle East, or whatever it is. It can take the wind out of the sails, and the higher it is, the harder the fall is. So I'm still looking for longs, but we got to take out that 3707, 3710 area, and I'm gonna start taking some more long trades. As long as the market's buying, I want to be buying with it.
Right.
But I want to be very cautious. I don't want to be,
Right.
I don't want to be going nuts here.
But hold on, we sort of addressed that. So the thing is, yeah, we want to go with the flow. If the flow is strong, we want to work with that, right? So we see swing trades, we see opportunities to buy some stocks that maybe are not as correlated to the S&P. Sure, we can do some things, but we're nimble, right? We're prepared to take our profits. We're prepared to get out early if we have to, because we're not 100% confident at these levels, because we know we're buying a high. Now, look, a chart will not help you with news, okay? So if some news comes out of nowhere, like you were just describing, it will just sink the chart. And I didn't see it coming. You're not going to see it coming on a chart, because it can be the S&P, or maybe slightly lower, right, in the low 3300s or whatever that is right there in the chart. Those would be areas where you can look for long-term stuff. You want to get good prices on high-quality stocks. That's the time to do it, not now. I don't care what the news is. I don't care how excited everyone is. I don't care how optimistic everyone is. And if your dentist is telling you to buy stocks, you should definitely not be buying stocks. Okay?
We're seeing it even, I see it in my own, where people are asking about stocks. And then even one of the members today had mentioned that someone was buying Moderna. One of their friends was recommending Moderna. That horse left the stable months ago. If you weren't on that horse,
Right.
You're chasing the rear here, and you're seeing a lot of that. And remember, fundamentals are good for choosing stocks you want to be in or a sector you want to be in, but fundamentals don't drive markets. Unemployment data, all that, we've seen the market blow off bad unemployment data, and then rally on bad unemployment data, and sell off on good. It does what it wants. Market sentiment's really critical here, and you can kind of see it in some of the stocks that are going nuts. Moderna's one of them. I remember back in April, one of my buddies who was buying Gilead because of the remdesivir, and I'm like, why are you buying Gilead? Oh, it's gonna be $120 stock. I'm like, because of what? And he's going, because of remdesivir. Everybody's going to be using it. Well, everyone is using it. It's being used. But totally crushed. It's actually trading lower than it was before the pandemic. So fundamentals don't drive markets. Sentiment drives markets. And everybody's into, one of the ones that we took was Arcturus, ARCT. It was kind of a little under the radar. Arcturus was a pharmaceutical in the vaccine area. They have a one-dose wonder. Oh boy, we got out, didn't we? Okay, we got out in time, didn't we?
Yeah, the high there was 128.82 yesterday. I
don't think we got out at the high, but we definitely got out, in the close to that 120 level. We were kind of watching it consolidate, and it gave us that big selling opportunity, that big red bar, that big red candle back in early December. And we're like, you know what? And it kind of popped right off of that, consolidated. We're like, wait, we're going to take a position here. Then we bought the breakout. And then everybody found out about it. Yeah, we bought that breakout there, and everybody found out about it. So then, we were dumping as it became the new hot stock. And you got to do that kind of thing here, because this just shows you how bullish people are and how irrational they're being. They're just chasing anything and everything.
Well, you have to understand when these situations, when something like this occurs, we've been seeing a lot of things. Jumia has done this. And there's so many stocks that we can mention.
Go to Jumia. Just pull that chart up. I don't even understand it at all.
But hold on. So again, it's just irrational behavior. Look at this thing. This thing went nuts. Okay. Now. Yeah.
But I want to explain. Interesting enough, they do they do 300 million a year.
Has hyped this for days in a row. Steve Weiss, one of the regular guests on CNBC, he has hyped it for days in a row, not just once or twice, but over the last week or so, I've heard him mention it multiple times. I don't know what's going on. I don't think he's just trying to help everybody out with investments. Maybe
you sure? Oh, of course they are. They're always telling you, what to buy for your own benefit.
They want us to make money. They're our friends.
They're not trying to dump shares on there. Actually, I looked. There's not a short interest on. There's not a big short float on this stock.
Right, but hold on. I want to mention something, because we've been seeing so many stocks do this type of thing, right? Look, NEO is another one, right? Remember NEO? The car company, the Chinese car company, that one was pretty
Yeah.
strong there before it pulled back, right? So when these things occur, and when something goes vertical like this, how about very, right? I remember Powell said to me, "You're going to be very sad when you see the very chart because we missed it, right? VERI. Look at this, right? This thing, another one went vertical. Very went vertical. When these things occur, you have to understand what's going on. When they start to go, right, and they start showing large intraday gains, it pops up on all the day trader radars. It pops up on a lot of people's radars, and they all start piling into it, right? All the Robinhood traders start piling into it. And if they have a low float, meaning a lot of shares, there aren't many shares available relatively, then you get those vertical type moves. It's the pure herd mentality. And you have to be able to take advantage of those situations, not become caught up and victimized by them. Because if you're buying the top because you think, oh, well, I bought this thing at 30 and it's probably going to go to 40 at this rate, well, you're asking for big trouble, right? If you're not in from the low prices, if you're not in from those prices, your risk is enormous, okay? So how do you get in from these low prices? Well, you got to track these for a while, right? These just don't come out of nowhere. If it's popping up on your radar, those are reactive traders jumping in. You don't want to be one of them. You want to be a careful planning type of trader that is pretty much anticipating these type of turns, and you don't know again that it's going to go vertical like this. This is just a random reward that the market provides. But if you're in like Jumia, we had Jumia, we didn't know it was going to run to 34 or whatever it was, but we knew it was a high potential stock, okay? And we were tracking that thing for a little while. Same with Workhorse, same with Nikola before it had that negative news. So you have to track these things for a while. When something goes nuts, what do? You put it on your radar. That's the best thing to do. And then you track it to see when the next opportunity develops. It may take 2 months for that opportunity to develop.
Yeah, but these are not fundamental moves. These are not fundamental moves. These
Absolutely
are
not.
sentiment moves.
Right. And that's the herd
This
mentality.
just shows you the market sentiment. It's the herd mentality. So that's usually the sign of the end of the cycle. However, I'm not going to fight it. I mean, you're not shorting there, but there is one that I am interested in shorting from a fundamental standpoint. And that's Peloton, PLTON. If I hear more,
PLT.
Henry, I told you I was going to talk about this one.
I'm ready for you. But while I'm at it, let me say we had a request for NLS Nautilus. It might tie in
Which
with
one?
this as well too. NLS Nautilus. I believe was the person that asked for that.
Okay.
Right. Well, here's
PTON, Peloton.
Peloton.
Okay, so Peloton. This is a long, in my opinion. I'd be going long here. Fundamentally, though, I do not like the company. I do not think this is a long-term hold. And the reason is this is getting an extremely pricey. It's starting to get extremely pricey. And I know price to earnings doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter until it matters. Even Elon Musk admitted that. But I think it's trading at like 1,000, some stupid, ridiculous number. And I'm thinking to myself, what makes this company so good? So I went on and I like to do my own. I like to do my own research when I'm looking at these things. It's trading at a 421 price to earnings. Forward price to earnings, it's 300. That's saying they make 60. Got a dollar in 3 years. They make $1 in 2023. So they have two models here. So they're selling you bikes, and then they're selling you exercise equipment, and then they're also selling you those subscriptions. Subscriptions, $30 a month. They got a nice subscription base, 95% retainage. Everything looks really good until I went to go buy a bike. And then I'm looking and I'm comparing this with NordicTrack. And I mean, Schwinn makes, I was kind of surprised how many of other manufacturers were out there that are making these bikes. And then Apple allegedly working on the iBike. I don't know if that's true or not, but God, they're into everything. Look what they did to Fitbit and GoPro. So I'm looking here and I'm going, I just don't see any reason why a Peloton is getting this type. It's not a disruptor.
No,
I mean, NordicTrack's been around,
This is Nautilus.
Which one?
This is Nautilus, NLS, that Henry just mentioned, which is a competitor, obviously.
Yeah.
Interesting situation there. All right, but look, hold on.
Well, yeah, I like that. Actually, I like that for long, too. Go ahead.
Well, so what are you saying? Because you said you wanted to short when you started the conversation.
I said I'm looking to short Peloton. However, now is not the time to
You're
short it
going
because
long
I'd be going long right now. I'd be going long, but it's not a long-term investment. And this is kind of where you got to separate your strategies out here. I'm looking at Peloton. I'm going, there's no way I'd hold this for 5 years because in 5 years, this is probably going to look like Fitbit or GoPro. I mean, that's what's going to happen to this. There's too many. It's too crowded of a space. You know, to me, I actually did some research on it, and I'm kind of looking like, okay, what bike would I buy? And NordicTrack had, without a doubt, the better package, I thought, in my opinion. And they also had other things to go along with it. I mean, they had that machine, and I was like, okay,
NordicTrack,
if I was going
you have to bring your own screen to that. The Peloton has the larger screen and that, but really, as you're picking out the bike that you want, and you want to save the $1,000 over 2 years by buying the NordicTrack, who is your favorite teacher on those classes you're watching on the screen?
Well, you know, I read about that, and actually the Peloton does have the screen, and the nice thing about the NordicTrack does have the screen on the bike. And I was looking at Tom's Compare, and he compares everything. If you ever want to know what, you know, the best product out there is, you go to Tom's Compare. And so I was sitting there comparing the two, and the one thing that Peloton does not do is Peloton does not have the movable screen. So NordicTrack, if you want to do yoga, no, it does not. It's fixed screen. I'm telling you right now. I did a lot of research on this as if I was going to buy a bike. The NordicTrack setup seemed a lot better. It also came with, you didn't have to buy all the extra. Anyways, go ahead.
But I don't want to eat up the time, but we will counter that statement that you made that Peloton doesn't have a screen that turns around and provides you other content. Or if you want to use your cheap bike and use the Peloton teachers, you can just buy the $12.99 a month subscription. Andrew?
I'm sorry, what's that? I
said,
didn't know what you said there.
The content is an important feature on who wins the competition between the products.
Sure.
So
you're right.
You don't have to buy the high-end bike with Peloton. You can buy the subscription for $12.99, and they still have the in with you to sell you more content over that membership. So
Peloton, I thought was a standard
here on Peloton and the pricing and what you're going to do. It's just had a 30% pullback. So why? But you said you're long, and you would stay long. I said
I like it long. Yes, I would stay long for now. I think it's too crowded of a space.
And where would you get out at what price? Like if it gets back down to 95, are you out?
If I got back down to 90, I'm looking actually for a move to about 136 in this. I think 136 can trade from here. It's got a nice setup. It actually triggered a long today. So, if you're a breakout trader, it's a different type of breakout, but this is one that I'd be looking to go long on. But when it gets up to 136, I would consider shorting it. Now I'm not going to short stock outright. Shorting these types of stocks is silly because you can get run over real quick. However, I would look to buy a way out of the money put, maybe a year out.
Okay, now hold on. So let's finish that there because we're running out of time and we have a couple more things to go over here. All right, so that's your Peloton Nautilus comparison there, or NordicTrack, or whatever. So real quick, I want to ask you one question. For next year, what is one stock that you would invest in right now? For next year, give me one stock, just one, not 10, not 5, one.
Google.
Google? You would buy Google for next year? Why? Why would you buy Google? And is that GOOGL or GOOG?
Yeah, GOOGL. It's trading at a high. It's pushing higher. I mean, they got a huge cash moat. If times get tough, people are going to flock back to these types of stocks that have huge cash flow and still are growing. They're also into the bio. They're also into the bio as well. So I like their. They're into everything.
Google.
I mean,
all right, I know
the disruptor. And if they do break them apart, it's going to unleash value like you've never seen before. So I like Google.
Google. Okay. At these prices, though, you like Google at these prices?
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't.
Okay.
Well, I actually bought a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be transparent. I bought a little bit, just around 1,800.
Okay. All right. So another thing, real quick, I just want to cover this
Did you
gold.
want mine?
Oh yeah, Henry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Of
Okay.
course, I want to
I
hear
would
this.
buy a semiconductor stock because the semiconductors are going to lead whatever technology goes forward and commands attention. I would pick, if I have to pick one, I would probably pick AMD because it's been going sideways for a little while now. So you probably got to run in there. NVIDIA has been a leader, but AMD is getting into data centers too, as well as some of the other. They're strong in gaming, and so I would go with that if I had to pick a semiconductor stock.
AMD. Okay. Just but so you would probably maybe wait for better prices compared to where it is right now.
Well, I think. Well, no, it's lagged while these other ones. It's like the money just flowed through the semiconductor because that was the thing to do over the last several
Hmm.
weeks. And it's the only one that sort of had the run initially, and then the others caught up, and now it's sort of going to be time for it to rotate back in. And since we're starting our year right now, that's why I would pick that one over the semiconductors.
Okay. All right. Well, those are good. Interesting. Both tech stocks. All right. So before we get to trade of the week, we have a bunch of questions in the chat. I wanted to get some of those. But before we do, real quick, I just want a little comment on gold. You guys have anything to say about gold? Here's the gold chart.
I
Andrew,
think,
what would you say
yeah,
about gold right
I
now?
think you got to wait for. I think you got to wait for a pullback, regardless of where it is. I mean, if you don't own any, if you don't own any miners, maybe a small position here. But I'm looking for that pullback, even to retest the 1850 area at this point. So it broke
What
that
miners would
1850
you buy on a
resistance.
pullback, or what miner? Just one. Give me one.
The WPM,
Oh,
Wheaton
Will
Precious Metal.
Wheaton. Will Wheaton. You know who he is, right?
Actually, no.
You told me a week before you knew who Will Wheaton was.
Wheaton.
Come on, man. You don't watch. All right, never mind. Will Wheaton was the guy from. He was on Star Trek: The Next Generation. He played the young cadet. Never mind.
And
You
now you
guys
know what
don't.
I'm going to get. I'm going to get
I
30
know.
emails of people. I'm going to get 30 emails from people with Peloton and Nordic Track bikes. Now,
Right.
guaranteed.
Okay. All right. So
Nordic Track's the best.
WPM is basically your metals pick, and I like the location of it. It's a nice location, by the way, on that WPM. That's more my style right there. And you got a nice higher low, and it took out that little lower
Yeah.
high resistance right there. You see that on the chart? That's nice looking.
Hmm.
That's a good start. That's a good structural change right there. Okay. So all right. So we have a couple of minutes left. Do you guys want to say anything before we get to trade of the week? And oh wait, I have some questions. Let's get to the questions. Let's just run through, see
Yes.
if we can run through some questions real quick. Okay, let's see here. NLS. Okay, we kind of talked about NLS real quick. That's Nautilus. We have no DGB. Okay, DGB, which is
Digital.
DGB Group. Here, I think
I
that's
think
the right symbol.
you would
Say it again,
what,
Henry.
Is this a SPAC?
well, I thought he was asking that back in the, or whoever asked it was asking it back when you're doing alternate coins.
Oh, so is it a coin?
So
DGB, Digibyte. Yeah.
Let's see. All right, so let me put it against USDT. Okay, DGB USD. Thanks for pointing that out, Henry. I tend to pick the wrong symbols and talk about them for 3 hours. Okay, so what do you guys think of this?
I mean, it's trading at a low. Give it that. But it's, yeah,
This chart
it should
sucks.
be pushing higher.
I
Yeah,
mean, well, the
it's
thing
not
is,
the
look,
best chart.
you have to look
Well,
at
I
it this
mean,
way.
I'm not going to say that. It had its move already, so it's consolidated. You got
Well,
the three legs down, but there's no reversal here. There's just, I
where's
mean, it's had a
where's
nice run.
where's the Bitcoin relationship is my question. All right, you're consolidating for a few months. Bitcoin, relatively speaking, is way up here, and this thing is nearing a support. That's not good. I
Yeah.
mean, technically speaking,
Mm.
that's not good. Okay, so if you're at the mercy of this thing, all you can do is hope that it doesn't break the support and eventually find some buying. But that buying will not be confirmed until you start taking out resistances. And your first resistance is what was that 0039 or whatever? I can't even read the number from here.
Yeah.
Like 0039. You need to clear that to really confirm that, okay, the structure is now, going back to bullish. But with
I
Bitcoin
want,
at its highs and this thing kind of messing
yeah.
around here, the relative strength factor alone is problematic. So that's why I say it looks like garbage.
But if I haven't said it once, I haven't said it a million times. If you want to invest in something like this, throw a couple $100. Money you're not going to miss. Money you don't care if it goes to zero.
Okay.
If
So
it goes, if that goes to $100, I mean, you're a millionaire with $100 investment. Let's just put it that way. So, and it's probably not going to get there. It's probably going to go to zero.
okay, all right. So wait.
What's the next question?
All right. So we got natural law. BTC and ETH printed a weekly has ribbons. I'm not sure what has means. Maybe it means high. A weekly has ribbons buy signal, while both are inside a wedge pattern. Thoughts? BTC and ETH. So I'm not sure what he means by a has ribbons buy signal. I'm not sure what that is. But I'll pull up a weekly chart of Bitcoin. And, you know, again, well, look.
I looked at the weekly chart. I think, go ahead.
Here,
I think it's still strong. I mean, it's still a strong chart.
the weekly is strong, there's no doubt, but again, you have to look at the location first. So even if there are buy signals showing up here, remember all buy signals, even the ones we follow, they often appear randomly. Okay, so when something is random like that, you have to be aware of that, and you have to know your location. If the buy signal appeared at a low or at a support, I'd be much more excited about something like that. But when it appears at a high, I'm much more cautious. So I'll mention that. And the same goes for ETH. If Bitcoin can't do it, ETH is going nowhere. It doesn't matter how many buy signals are showing up in that thing. All right, so that pretty much addresses those two questions. Now, DJ asks, Mark, what about you? Which one would you pick? I guess for the year, I don't really have, I'm not that long term. You know, I look at swing trades, so I'm very short term oriented. I probably, like between AMD and Google, I don't like those prices. I want something that's gotten beaten up and it's hated so that it has all that potential to go, right? And I really don't have anything on my radar in terms of that right now. I'm tracking things like Jumia. I'm tracking things like, you know, cheap stocks that are higher potential, and I want to see them, you know, start to break those levels, like, you know, kind of like we saw with Nikola, right? Nikola's on my radar. Look, got beat up, and will it be greater in a year? Possibly. But, you know, if they change whatever they're doing and the news gets better on them and blah, 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 it's not breaking that 17 level. I like that. Here, look at the chart real quick. Not breaking that level. So, you know, that's something, that's what the style
What chart
of stock
is that?
I'm looking for. Nikola. NKLA. Okay. All right. So that's pretty much it. We're going to have to close up the show now. We're going over here. So it's now time for, here comes the cue. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this right, Henry. I never do this right. Let me see. Is it going right? I don't hear it. Hold on. Oh, maybe that's because the sound is off. Hold on. I never do this right. I need someone to do this for me. I can't even do this right. Hold on. I got to start this over. I got to cue the sound. Okay, here it comes. Now let me start it over. Okay, there we go. Trade of the week. That's how it goes here. Hey, we don't get paid for this. What are we gonna do? You know, if I had a salary for this, I'd do a better job. Okay, so trade of the week. Henry, what do you have?
Peloton already broke out. Oh, go ahead, Henry.
Well, Henry first.
Well, last week I said Lattice Semiconductor, and I'm repeating it because I said buy the 35 call last week, and you would have gotten about a 20-25% return because it made a new high. It still hasn't gone ballistic yet, or parabolic, or whatever word you want.
What was the ticker,
use.
Henry?
So it's LSCC.
LSCC.
So when I closed out the 35 calls, I bought the 40 calls. Not much premium. You want to buy January.
Okay, well that's a nice push higher.
I like
there.
that chart.
Ooh, tough
Yeah,
spot.
nice
but
breakout
okay.
there.
LSCC.
Nice breakout.
Okay, that's Henry's call. Andrew, what do you have?
Mine was going to be Peloton, but it already broke out today. So I'm going with Vertex Pharmaceutical, ticker VRTX. Is that your Peloton?
That was. Oh,
I want to show you the screen. Go. See? Burn. Well, you had to look fast. There it is. Gives you all the weight training too.
Great.
That's not Peloton.
hold on. Yeah, let's
I
go
don't
back
know.
to
Yes, and you can.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm messing this up.
VRTX, Mark. I'm going with VRTX, Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Sticking with the pharmaceuticals. I like the biotechs. When they move, they move. You got a nice gap to fill here, and you got this nice setup to go long. I'm liking it. Vertex long, or 260, baby. 260 is going to trade here.
Uh-huh. Okay. So VRTX, right? Well, here's what I'm looking at. PLL, which you actually mentioned. I like
I like them.
PLL, which is Piedmont Lithium. And I like this thing because, you know, it's a high potential stock. It's got a consolidation. It's got a nice little buy signal developing here today. And looking to take out the high of the previous couple of days. This thing can easily run a few points, at least back to the, you know, high, the middle, not even the high, the middle of this range, which gives it some nice potential. Okay, so out of those, I mean, what would you say? What would you say?
Well, you know, the only problem I have with the EV sector right now, it's hot and it's starting to pull back. So you have some of the, if you have some of the ETFs pull back that are tracking these, and PLL is in it, it's going to get hammered as well. So, but I do like it as an individual stock. That's why we brought it up.
Okay, so we have to pick one.
I
right?
like,
So
you know, I like,
PLL?
I would either go with PLL's fine. Go with PLL.
Okay, all right. So
Because I'm issuing a trade on VRTX anyways to our members.
all right, fine, that's fine.
And
So
I do like that LSCC trade. I may get into that. We were talking about that today. And
That's a
Henry,
nice
I am
short
going to
put.
send you the NordiTrack stuff. I'm going to send you the NordiTrack. We'll put it up in your family
I
room
would-
there.
when
We'll
you
get
told me
going on it.
to talk about it, I was all over. And thanks to Powda on the chat validating me.
So is it worth a $300 price to earnings? Price
It's
multiple.
only $70 a month in your easy payments.
So okay, Mark, we're keying on you here. We're laughing, having a good time. I'm ready to go get a beer, get a burger,
else is new?
and enjoy my evening.
right,
Yeah.
okay, so this is it then. Our trade of the week is going to be PLL, which is Piedmont Lithium Limited, and I will be sending that out to our free members and our paid members as our trade of the week. You will get it in your email sometime either tonight or early tomorrow. So look out for that. It'll have all the orders in there, the buy, the stop, the targets, everything else. Okay, so if you're not a free member, sign up over at greenbridgeinvesting.com. You get on our email list and you will get the email. Other than that, make sure you check out our website. We have a 7-day free trial. We have swing trade service by text, by email. We have portfolio management ideas. We have a chat room. All right, so that's pretty much it. Hey,
And I got a few trades going out tomorrow myself. I tomorrow. I liked how this closed. I like how the S&P closed.
Okay.
I like how the NASDAQ closed. I'm going long this week, but short term, keeping it short term.
All right. Well, we talk way too much and we're over our time. So again, thank you everyone for watching and we'll see you next time. You have anything to say, you guys, before we sign off?
Short Nordic, short Peloton, way overpriced. It's garbage. Made in China.
Great. Getting political now. Wrong show. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
right.
okay. We have Bill Barr anyway on here, so it's okay. We can get political.
We're investigating.
All right, you guys. All right, we're signing off.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep. Bye-bye.